do I age well? It's something I often ponder on. My name's Rosaria Barreto, and I want to find out what it takes to live a healthy and happy life as we age. I'm a clinical exercise specialist, and for the past 5 years, I've worked with nearly 1,000 older adults, and as a result, have had the chance to talk to a diverse range of happy and healthy, and not so happy and healthy people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I want to know what it takes to be able to look back and confidently say, I lived an amazing life. Why not join me in this exploration on what it takes to live happily and healthily and learn how to age well? Hi guys, today's episode is going to be about golf and how golf can potentially improve the way that we age. But before we start, I'd like to just go through a little update. Firstly, I've had a few weeks off of publishing episodes throughout August, mainly because I've been super busy and haven't been able to spend as much time as I would like creating monologue style episodes. However, I have been working with lots of amazing experts to bring to you some amazing episodes that are specifically focused on areas that I don't know very much about, but these experts do. The latest episode that has been released was all about what the root cause is, and it was a holistic approach to aging well, talking about things like bioresonance, nutrition, sleep, and habits, and all of those things can impact our aging. Over the next few months, we have one expert podcast episode being released every month. The next one is all about financial stability and how to plan now for the future. And this episode explores financial well-being at various ages of life. So maybe you're 30 and you're already thinking about retirement, which is amazing. But we also look into what you can do now if you have retired and what can be done to make the most out of your finances. After that, we've got a podcast episode with an amazing lady called Jo Mosley. She's incredibly inspiring. And we talk all about how stand-up paddleboarding can help you age well. I will leave the podcast to do the explanation as to what that entails, but it is a really lovely episode. And then finally, in November, we have another episode very focused on hormones and learning about how hormones can affect daily life and lifestyle, with a specific focus on andropause and estrogen. So they're the hormones. Andropause is a male hormone and estrogen, a female hormone, and how those can impact the way that we live and the way that we age. So they are some really exciting episodes that we have coming up. I cannot believe it's September already. September, October, November, 4 months till 2025, which sounds ludicrous because I just don't even understand why the last 4 years have gone. So I'm hoping that these episodes can kind of bring you some joy, bring you some learnings through these colder, darker months. And then finally, just an update on the podcast itself. We've had over 600 listens. We're creeping up to over 700 listens very quickly. So thank you so much to everybody that has followed the podcast. There's nearly 50 people following the podcast, and nearly 700 listens since starting in, I think, January. And realised that my goal for this is to just help as many people as possible. So if you do know anybody that would find any of the episodes interesting, beneficial, then please share this with them. Send them the link to one of the episodes that you think would benefit them the most. Okay, well, let's get started. As I said, we're going to be talking about golf and how it can be a tool for healthy aging. So I recently started playing golf. I want to say I gave it a go last year and I hated it. and I felt really cat-candid. I couldn't get my head around it, and I just stopped playing it for a long time. I literally went to the driving range maybe 2 or 3 times and just thought, this is not for me. But recently I really fell in love with it. During the summer, I decided to go to the driving range. I've played a few par threes, I've played 18 holes now, and I've learned so much about golf. And I have this renewed passion and I don't know what the word is, excitement every single time I play. Um, and the reason is because I learn a new thing every single time, whether it's going to the driving range, whether it's having a golf lesson, to playing a 9 to 18 hole course. I've personally learned a lot through it, which is how I'm going to base the episode. So the first thing that I have started to learn about golf is that it does require a lot of thinking. And the level of mental stimulation that golf requires is amazing. So golf requires strategic thinking and concentration. And although it doesn't seem like it, it can be very mentally draining. I remember the first time that I played 18 holes and I was so tired as soon as I finished, and I just needed to sleep. And I believe that that is down to the mental challenge of planning shots, reading greens, strategizing, keeping in mind positioning, technique, and all of those other things that go on from a cognitive perspective. And the reason this is so important for aging is because the cognitive engagement element is really important for maintaining mental capacity, and it has the potential to stave off cognitive decline. I always say to people that I work with and friends and family, the more you use your brain, the better. And if you have listened to any of my previous podcast episodes about dementia and Alzheimer's, it's really there's much more data and statistics around how mental stimulation can prevent mental health challenges. So that's number one. Golf can be amazing for mental stimulation. And then leading on to that, I went to play a game with a couple of my husband's friends. And what I realised about it was that they can really talk to each other, have a good quality of time outside in the fresh air whilst playing sport. And the conversations were so important. And I know that golf is heavily played by men. I know there is a rapidly growing female community of golfers. But from a male perspective, the suicide rates for men are horrendous. I think it's something, I'm actually going to just quickly look this up, because it's something I really worry about from my friends, from my husband, from his work colleagues, from my brothers. The male suicide rates vary compared to the region, but I know in the UK they are horrendous. And I've just quickly looked it up. They're definitely higher than women. They're approximately 3 to 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women. And apparently suicide rates often increase with age. And I think this is to do with loneliness, physical health, and loss of social roles. And I think that golf can play such a huge part in connectivity, tackling that loneliness, and preventing things like depression and anxiety playing such a huge part in their lives. And just watching like my friends talk to each other about these things, like there is no other time that I can even conceive that they would have these discussions unless you're in a pub or you're having drinks. But even that's not the right time to talk about these things. And I just don't think that associating alcohol with talking is necessarily the best way forward. If we can associate it with sport or exercise or movement, you're going to have much stronger rewards in those settings. Additionally, so we've just previously mentioned that mental health can be massively affected as we age, especially in men. And that kind of brings me to the social interaction element of golf and how that can play a role in healthy aging. People do play golf by themselves, but a lot of people really enjoy, and most people will look to play occasionally with teams, with friends, with family, or even in competitions. And this social interaction is so important as we age, not only to combat loneliness, but it also provides a sense of community and belonging, which is really, really important for emotional health. And the great thing about golf is it can be played at any age. And so, I mean, I'm 27, but I see people in their 80s playing golf, and it just brings round such a excuse my Alexa. It just brings round such a wholesome approach to tackling social isolation. So stress reduction is kind of the outcome of promoting social interaction and mental stimulation through golf. But the kind of main elements of stress reduction that are achieved through playing golf is actually the element of being outdoors and in nature. There are so many benefits for being in nature. Things like the hormones that are experienced, like increase as you are outside in nature. There is so much research associated or linked to the fact that time spent in nature reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression. So having that calming and natural effect to provide a break from the pressures of daily life. It also supposedly enhances focus and attention. So it might be a really, really good way of breaking up your day if you're suffering with kind of like mental challenges, whether that's stress, anxiety, depression, other mental health challenges. But ultimately, I always feel amazing when I've been outside. So it has such an uplifting effect on my mood, and can just really contribute to the feelings of happiness and self-purpose, I think. But also, this is supported by research. So moving away from kind of the mental health element, there's also the kind of routine and structure that golf can provide. Now, it takes a big chunk of your day out. You can play shorter, but I think most people play golf for about 4 hours. If they do 18 holes, you can play for shorter amounts of time, which is absolutely fine. But having this significant amount of time and this structure where you're going to do something that is for you, that is active, that is stimulating, it can really support somebody's way to stay active. So you're embedding a purposeful time to play golf, to move, to spend in nature, to socialize, and to do something that brings you joy. One of my friends recently said that she really likes that her husband's playing golf because before he didn't have any hobbies, and now she finds it amazing that he's so excited for it every week. But he has this whole routine of getting ready, putting his golf shirt on, putting his golf shorts on, packing his trainers, and then playing golf, and then coming home and then cleaning his golf clubs, and having that whole routine has really changed his life. I think it's really important for people who don't necessarily have other things to do. Maybe they just work or they've got family responsibilities, but having that kind of selfish element to your day, which I think is really, really important as we age. You know, like a lot of us live for others, but we also need to live for ourselves. Going back to earlier where I said I was so mentally stimulated and exhausted by the end of my 18 holes, this made me sleep so well. And I think, as we know, regular exercise is so important for regulating sleep patterns. And that's just one of those powerful things that golf can do, just improving the quality and quantity of sleep that you're getting. And then finally, I want to talk about exercise, and I've left this last because it's something I could talk about all day long. Exercise is obviously my field. It's something I'm really passionate about. And before I played golf, I was such a negative Nelly about golf and whether it was a sport, because I'm like, they're just walking around and smacking a ball around. But since playing, I have really started to learn about how golf is exertive. So it is classified as moderate intensity aerobic activity. Now, you are walking for a prolonged period of time unless you get a golf buggy. So the walking element, amazing, so important. You're walking on uneven ground, up hills, down hills. That in itself is fantastic. If you're walking for 4 hours, imagine any other time. Are you going to go out and be like, I'm just going to go for a 4 hour walk? No. But when you play golf, you're not even thinking about that. It's not such a struggle to find that motivation to do 4 hours of walking. And then you've got the before I move on to kind of swings and movements, when it comes to walking, you're just naturally improving your cardiovascular health. You're improving your blood flow around your body, and you're also improving ankle, knee, and hip stability by walking on uneven ground and grass. And then just to follow that up, it's such low impact, so it can be really, really great for people who have osteoporosis and want to do prolonged periods of exercise but can't because their joints maybe can't hack endurance training or different things like that. It's just like one of those low impact, gentler exercises that have a lot of physical health rewards, but particularly for people with arthritis or joint issues. And then we've got the swings and the movements involved. Now, this is something that is extremely challenging, and it looks easy, and professional golfers make it look easy, but it's actually not. There's a lot of torso movement involved in this, lots of hip movement. So to start off, mobility. Golf requires a lot of mid-body mobility and hip mobility, and that is something that can be really useful if you're counteracting somebody who is sedentary. For example, if you're sitting all day, if you're not moving and golf is your only sport, you are naturally, without having to do yoga, without having to do purposeful stretches, working on your mobility, which is going to help with things like postural positioning, reduced injury, lowered pain. Back pain is one of the most prevalent causes of injury, I think, across the world. And there's something like 60% of people, now don't quote me on this, I'd have to back this up with some stats, but 60% of people have one or more experience back pain at least once in their life. So super important for back health. We've also got upper body mobility, things like neck mobility, all of those things. And then to finish that off, you've got power and strength. So I wouldn't say that this is particularly, golf particularly requires much strength, but it does require a lot of power. And with power, there is an element of strength involved. So you've got speed, agility, and the kind of the power that you can, find or accumulate through your lower body that then is released through your swing and then through the ball. And then that helps that golf ball get further, more accurate, different things like that. So it's a very power intensive, ballistic movement rather than kind of strength endurance or powerlifting that requires kind of full body strength. You can get away with not being particularly strong and still being a very, very good golfer. So I'd focus more on that mobility when it comes to swings and movement involved. So it is important to note that golf shouldn't be the only thing that you do. I talk to a lot of people and they're like, oh yeah, I do golf, so like I'm fine. And I'm in my head, I'm just like, no, you're not fine. You have to do other things like strength training, balance training, to improve your physical health, particularly strength training. Strength is the most important part of is one of the most, actually, do you know what? It's the most important type of exercise you can do. And it just isn't required that much, or you're not doing that much strength training in golf. So you have to somehow find a way to fit that in. I just also want to comment about balance. I've noticed that my balance has been extremely challenged during driving range practice. I've been having a few group lessons, and I've noticed that my ability to transfer my weight from one leg to the other is not great, despite me thinking that I'm quite well balanced, but then actually realizing I'm not. And it does challenge your balance in a different way than anything else will. So that's also a great kind of benefit to playing golf. As you know, all of these things, mental stimulation, social interaction, physical activity, and stress reduction, are really, really important, and improve sleep are really, really important parts of living a healthy life. So it does offer a well-rounded set of benefits that support healthy aging by promoting physical fitness and all that mental sharpness and social engagement and emotional well-being. I hope that's given you a bit of an outline as to how golf can be beneficial. I hope you've enjoyed that podcast episode. I'm going to stop there, and if you're interested in finding out more about different sports and activities that you can do to improve your aging and improve your health as we age, then please go and check out the podcast and have a listen. My name's Rosaria Barreto, and thank you so much for listening to How to Age Well. If you've enjoyed the podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback means so much and helps others to find out about how to age well.